You recommend that kind of superset training style for 5 years training bodybuilder? Yes, I do. Because, this is got to understand the theory, man. There's only so heavy you can go after a point before your body starts to plateau. And at that point, you're pushing heavier and heavier weight and it's getting dangerous and you're risking injury to try to make more gains. This is where things like superset training comes into play. It makes you break those, those plateaus and literally breaks through them and makes you be able to improve muscle groups. And it makes you extremely cardiovascularly fit and lean at the same time. It's a very intense training style and it takes a lot out of you, but it really works. How many days you take off the rest of your body in a week? 2, one on Friday and one on Sunday. Body part were you trying to bring up, or was it just conditioning? I mean, the thing is, every single year, the reason why we train and go to the gym and have an off season and everything else, we're trying to bring up something. We're trying to bring up something and we're trying to bring up everything. Density, thickness, any weak muscle group, we want to make all the muscle group better and bigger and thicker. But this goal for this year has been conditioning. It's been solely conditioning. Off season was a lot shorter this year. We stayed very lean through the off season. So now we just want to home stretch that, really pull it in and bring that conditioning. We know we got the muscle, we know we got the density, we know we complete from side to side, back to front, up and down. Now we just need to nail that conditioning. So our main goal this year has just been conditioning. How do you stay this flexible on stage, stretching routine after training? Yes, man, Mel always have me stretching and, making sure that I have that movement right when we're after training, so that really helps a lot. And at the same time, I believe, just because you're holding a lot of muscle and you're putting a lot of muscle in your frame, it shouldn't impede your ability to move that much, and it shouldn't impede your fitness, most definitely not. So that's what my training style and everything I do facilitates the ability to still power through this body and still be able to move the way I move and still be able to sort of not feel stiff and walk around like, have that invisible lat syndrome going on and, get out of breath and tie my shoelaces. I don't get none of that because of the health-wise and everything we pay to actually keeping me healthy. And that's why we have Marry Health. Marry Health is a company that, they really help me with that. And by checking out blood work and making sure that all my insides are working just as good as my outsides is a big thing. So that all comes to play. Do you think Q will win this weekend and get qualification for the Olympia? Man, I truly hope so. I'm speaking to him every day and I'm seeing how he's looking, and he's looking even better than he was just the other week when he competed, this past weekend. And I truly think that, from the improvement he's made and the adjustment to his posing as well, he's going to be deadly this weekend. And I really, really want to see him in the Olympia. I want him to come to the Olympia with me this year. So I know for a fact that he's going to be bringing his all to this weekend. And yeah, we're going to see him do this. Do you think you're the hardest trainer in the sport? What do you think? Champ, do you prefer technique over intensity? No, I prefer intensity over technique any day of the week. How many days you work out bicep? 1 day a week. How many times do you want to win the all before retiring? As many as I possibly can. Look, my idea is, man, I'm going to keep going one after the other and keep chasing and going after that title time and time again until my body can't take no more. So, yeah, it's going to be a long while. It's going to be a long while. I want to get as many as I can get. Your humility and professionalism as the ambassador has been inspiring. Thank you very, very much, man. Dude, that means a lot to hear. And you know what? We try to make sure that we represent this title and this sport in the most positive way we possibly can. And it's something that I love and I enjoy what we do. And I love this sport because it's given me so much in life. So, I try to do my best to give back and try to represent this sport in the most positive and uplifting way possible to inspire other people to take a chance and do this sport as well and look at this sport in a more positive light. So thank you very much, man, and I do appreciate you noticing that. What is the mindset you have right now preparing for the Olympia? My mindset is a very good one and a very confident one, man. Like I said, we're coming to this prep for the first time in a long while. Our prep is very, very simple to execute. We don't need to worry about anything. We only have one goal and one goal only, which has been the biggest feedback we've got from judges, that we need to sort out this prep. And once we have that right now and being able to achieve that and seeing what the results that's coming from that, it makes me very confident and it makes me feel I'm enjoying this prep more than I've ever enjoyed any prep I've ever been through, man. It's been actually amazing because literally seeing my physique transform this fast, it fires me up. It fires me up and I just feel good all in all anyway. I'm doing a lot of stuff. My mind is in the right place. I'm doing a lot of stuff outside of bodybuilding that's giving me just this joy and happiness and making me enjoying the whole experience as a whole. So yeah, this prep, training my own gym, you know, all the space, using the sauna, the jacuzzi, everything has just come together perfectly and is making this prep really, really enjoyable. When you're crowned Mr. Olympia again, what's the first food you will eat or binge eat? I haven't really thought about it, man. Honestly, I haven't even thought that far ahead. But I know one thing that I would like to do. Obviously, what happens after we do the show. I always fancy something like just something quiet and trashy, man. Probably a burger somewhere or something like that. And I just want to take my missus and we just go out somewhere quiet and just sit down and just eat something like that by ourselves and just let it all sink in. So for me, that's probably always one thing. One of my go-to after a show is just like, okay, that's what I want to do. How long have you been doing supersets, and when did you notice it worked best for you? Man, I've been doing supersets for over 7 years. And you know what? I've always been able to grow from year to year. If you look at all my updates from going back from when I started ages ago, so from when I was, 7 years ago, you can see every year how much size I put on. It works, and it's made me being able to bring up any weak muscle that they've always said they point out. I'm able to use that style of training to improve it and make it bigger. And I'm able to stay lean while doing that as well. It's very intense, it's very hard, and that's why many people can't do it. But it breaks down your body and it makes you be able to take to your body past boundaries that you're normally stuck at. And this is why it just freaking works. It's getting old. Hi Samson, I really want to know your current weight. Please don't say you don't know, you haven't checked. I don't know, I haven't checked. And look, what does it help you if you know my weight? Like literally, what does it help you? I'm still bigger than you. So what does it help you anyway? It's the most weirdest thing that everybody wants to know your weight. It's weird. What weight would you become P at the Olympics? Why is everybody so obsessed about my weight? Dude, I don't even give a damn. I've never said my weight in prep ever. So I don't know why everybody's asking me about what my weight and what I'll be competing at. I compete in whatever I compete at to be on stage looking my best. That's it. It doesn't matter what that number is. I don't focus on that. I focus on what I look like, and that's it. What's the secret to keeping size, even in severe calorie deficit during prep, rooting for you? Your training style. You have to train just as heavy and just as intense as you train as when you had all your full calories in the beginning, when you have all that calories in you. The minute you start to dip in your training because your calories so low and you're not able to push as much heavy weight and as seriously, that's the moment your body starts to cannibalize those muscles. So one of the biggest tip I would say is like the same intensity, the same amount of weight you pushed, growing those muscles is the same intensity, the same amount of weight you have to keep pushing, even when your calories are low, to retain those muscles. So this is one of the biggest tips you can have during natural prep when you're actually having really low calorie deficit. What is the best split for training for growing arms? Train arms in their own day. When you won the Olympia, did you take a break from the gym? If yes, how long? Yes, I do always take a break from the gym when I'm done competing. But the thing with the Olympia is we didn't have much of a long break because we were doing Arnold, so that's always seems to be the thing with the Olympia. We get off that, we go straight into the Arnold prep, so we don't really have much time. But I make sure I always take a week in between just to get a good rest. But now that you are cutting down and trying to show as much definition, what about thigh gap between our legs? You see the size of our legs, man? Nah, that's not something I literally have a problem with at all. So, nah, that's not something we worry about at all because I don't lose muscle. It's one thing that is if anything, I put on muscle in a prep. So I might get flatter, but that's it. Once any sort of carbs or high day goes in, I'm bouncing back up like a rubber band. So those muscles that I have are well established, so I don't worry about that at all. Any advice for bulk or how to eat large meals easier is practice. This one, I gotta tell you, is practice. I was never a big eater. I was never one to be able to shovel food down me constantly. I was never good at that. I was the guy that could eat one meal a day and go to work all day and that'll be it. I was never a big eater. But what we had to do is I had to learn to practice how to eat food constantly. The more you do it, the better you get at it. It is hard work. It is not easy, but it is practice, and you have to practice it before you actually become that. Between behind the neck shoulder press and front with Smith machine, what's better? The reason why I do behind the neck is basically it targets the whole delt, not just. But whilst the front one, you're going to put majority of pressure on your front delt alone. Behind the neck just seems to hit the full delt as one. and I get like a full delt pump, not just override by my front delt only. So that's the reason why I use behind the neck shoulder press. Seems like you are doing more supersets now than that you can with your own gym through. I'll always train a lot of supersets, you know, for the past 4 or 5 years, I've always done a lot of supersets. But yes, now that I'm obviously in my own gym, I have my own space, and you're not taking over so many machines, or you're not there's nobody there, it's just you. I can now freely explore that aspect of my workout to the highest order now. So you got the gym to yourself. So I'm supersetting everything I can to make the workout as intense and as torturing as I possibly can. And because I got the space for it, hell, why not have fun? Important aspect for a first-time competitor to focus on. Make sure your physique is balanced. You know, what happens is when we get into going to the gym, we tend to, most people, we all do this. We tend to focus on the muscle group we enjoy the most. So some guys will be like chest, 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 chest. Some guys will be arms. Some guys will be legs. Some guys will be back. And they focus a lot of time on those muscle groups for the first few years of doing it. You tend to, you know, prioritize your best muscle groups because you enjoy the most. But if you're going to go into competing, you need to prioritize everything. You need to be very balanced, or else that will come back and bite you in the ass later in your career, because some muscle will be overpowering and those ones will be behind and they have to play catch up. So whilst you're coming into this, you're going to prioritize your weaker muscle groups first. Just start doing that immediately. The ones that you're not great at, start prioritizing them right from the beginning. The good ones are going to be good anyway. The weaker ones have to be your priority. How can I get good shredded naturally? The same way everybody else does. You go to the gym and you work out. So this time also you're going to grab that title for sure. What the next thing you do after winning? Back to traveling, man. Back to traveling, back to representing this sport around the world like we did all through 2025. And yeah, man, so back to traveling, you know, there's a lot of countries I want to travel to and, you know, take bodybuilding to straight up next year. So yeah, man, back to seeing the world. What weight would you like to come in at the Olympia? I have no idea, because anybody who knows me long enough knows I don't check my weight at all during prep. So I have no idea. Are you attending the Honored UK 2026? Yes, I'll be there. Often and how long do you practice posing, and do you practice vacuum? Yes, we practice vacuum all the time. We practice posing, and even then some. My practice every day. Posing wise is every morning and every evening after post cardio and post training. Which body part hurts the most when you are stage lean? Man, all of them. I think to a point. I mean, probably legs probably the worst one. I gotta say, okay, legs probably the main one, quads, because the amount of cardio you have to do, as well as maintain a high level of leg training to keep that fullness in your quads, is just constantly in pain. And because you're doing so much cardio with it, it's not having as much time to recover as you normally would if you weren't doing that. So when you get closer and closer to the show and you're that lean, your legs probably the one that hurt the most constantly. What is success from Samson Dauda? Success for me is, you know, achieving something you set out to do. So achieving a dream, a goal that you already set out to do in life. Just achieving that, whatever it may be, you know, financially, career-wise, goal-wise, whatever that is. Once you ever achieve that point in your life where you can say, okay, yes, I achieved what I wanted, that for me, you're already successful. Far out or would you start carb loading process? Would you regain that wow factor? Whoever told you I lost the wow factor? You guys, man, you're funny, man. Yeah, you know, just be mindful of what you actually see on social media and what you see other people say to compare to the people that were actually in the venue watching what happened. So yeah, this one, yeah,